Last night, Ted and I got a call from Rachel. Kind of one of those, video chats, I guess you'd call it. We were by the fire, having a coffee, catching up. And she said her dog, Grover, time she'd go to the door, open it, he'd walk over to the garage and look at the garage door, look out on the deck. It's an amazing, amazing dog. When we first got there, she said, you have to just stand still because he's a big mastiff. Going to come out and bark. And I said, well, okay. So anyway, he come out. And I find around dogs like that I sort of look away, turn my vulnerable side away a little bit, put the back of my hand there, let them smell, and then try to get my voice out there as quick as I can to calm them, reassure them. And then usually if it's going to work, it's within minutes that they'll be up next to you, kind of feeling you out, but you give them that good old shoulder rub and the chest rub with your voice. So now they're going to, they've already sniffed you out, so they feel safe in there, but they're going to associate your voice with a good old chest and shoulder rub. And that's kind of how you can win them. But anyway, I really, really love that dog. And the last night that we were there, I had a cup of coffee and I just wanted to walk the grounds and have a look. Everything was so peaceful the way the sun was coming down through it. And I said, come on, Grover, let's go for a walk. And he walked out with me. And if I'd stop, he'd have his shoulder right against my thigh. And if I walked a little further, he'd stay right with me, because he trusted me. But it was a real connection. And it made me think about, having a dog. But my life, I guess, with this is not really fair. But it was like, a good friendship. And my son has a couple of dogs, and I can see why he's so connected. As a young guy growing up, he was really connected to the dogs. Dogs are amazing. They'll share with you everything. And in their last moments, if they can, they'll share that with you. And I want to tell you a story about a family dog, Hogan, that we had when my kids were really young. And when earlier in my marriage, we got Hogan, just as a pup from my sister. Business was new, so I had lots of time for him and run around. But as things grew and I got busier, we didn't quite have the time, and he was still in that playful mode. And then as we had kids, he saw the birth and the growing up of the kids and absolutely loved them. But I could see at night sometime when a little bit of quiet time, and I could sit down, he'd come over and sit in front of me, and I'd rub his chest and say, oh, Hoagie, I know your day is coming. And sad eyes, those old dog eyes and white nose, he'd just sit there and take the good old chest rub. I remember one morning getting up and coming downstairs to shave. I was getting ready to go, and he was in the bathroom, and he never, ever would lay in the bathroom. So as I wanted to fill the sink up, I said, come on, Hoagie, you got to move over. And I kind of tried to scoot him over with my leg, and I noticed he couldn't move. Like the back end was, it was paralyzed. So I said, Margie, you got to come downstairs. There's something wrong with Hogan. And then the kids got up. You know, it was early. And I could see the life coming out of him. So I sat down and tried to comfort him, put his head in my lap, and I asked Margie to give me a wet face cloth and kind of, you know, wet his nose and rub the back of his head, give him comfort. But I literally could see his body shutting down. The back was already paralyzed, but I could see the heavy breathing. And as it moved up through his body, and his eyes closed, and just little light breaths. And I'd say, you're going to be all right, Hogan. You're going to be good. And a little flicker of, you know, the eye muscle. You could still hear me. And then it wasn't short, you know, and the last breath was gone. And just, you know, he died in my lap and with the whole family around him. And I'd take him out and lay him in the living room, and then when the kids were leaving for school, my son came up and hugged his body. And as my daughter was leaving, she turned around, looked at him, and said, "Bye, Hoagie." As a father, I never felt so helpless that there wasn't anything I could do to save their pet. And I thought about how they would be in school that day, how they would handle that. And that's a long time ago. And that still has a deeply, deeply powerful effect on me. And Grover kind of brought those thoughts back. I just thought I would share it.